Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM20 Dorking Wanderers story with me, Daniel. It's season 11 episode 2, and to be honest, things are looking pretty good at the moment. We go into today's game against a massive championship side in Leeds after a pretty solid start to the season. Both teams unbeaten, so one record could well go today. Leeds winning 3 and drawing 2, us winning 2 and drawing 3. Unfortunately, certain things have just dried up after starting the season without even conceding a goal. And we go up against remarkably Kevin Prince Boateng's side today, and we'll see which manager comes out on top. We'll of course have Ollie Drury ineligible. He's on loan from Leeds, so won't be able to play today. They've got a couple of injuries, including Victor Mullins. The reason he's important, he's someone that would have been our record transfer this summer. We tried to sign him for £2.7 million, and he went to Leeds instead. Would have been a good left winger, would have been a top pro coming into this season, and would have been worth an awful lot in the future. But as it is, he's not going to be playing today because he's got a hip injury, and that was picked up just after he joined their club. But we're at home at Crawley Stadium, hopefully not for much longer as you saw last time out. If you did miss that episode with our transfer special and our start to the season against Luton Town, please do go back and catch up in the eye above. If you're looking forward to the season and this big match against Leeds today, please do put a thumbs up on the video. It really does make such a difference, and I can't thank you enough for your support again. And of course a reminder that there's plenty of other content on the channel. For example, our 2 new series continue on Sunday, so that was yesterday at 12 and 4:30, my FM20 network career followed by the Stadium Review series, both of those featuring co-hosts of course. And in tomorrow we've got a big moment. Instead of our regular episode, we will have a live stream at 10 AM. It'll be the summer transfer special from the head coach after a bit of a bizarre end to the season. It was a crazy year, season 8 actually, so I'll put a link to the start of that season in the eye above, so you can catch up ahead of tomorrow's live stream. And if you are able to join me at 10 o'clock tomorrow, that would be incredible. So thank you again, and if not, of course there'll be a full stream replay available afterwards, so you can catch up with any of the bits you miss. But let's go and have a look at Dorking Wanderers and our start to the season. We of course start with the end to the transfer window, which features a man that's been mentioned already, Ollie Drury, on loan from Leeds United. He came in on deadline day just as a sort of backup on the right wing. And he's a bit of a utility man because he's not really naturally our backup. So we've got Zach Council, who's obviously our first choice. And then we've got Alan Tordoff, who moves from centre mid to the right wing to cover. So he's basically a third choice, Ollie Drury. We've also got Harvey Parks out there. I think that's his name. Have I got that completely wrong? Let me go and have a look. Harvey Parks is what I'm looking for. Cross your fingers that I've absolutely nailed this. Tommy Parks, not even close. So Tommy Parks is our third choice as well, but Drury just gives us versatility. He can play in 3 or 4 positions. Weirdly, he can cover at left back for some reason. No idea why. He can't tackle, he's not got great stamina, can't position himself, no anticipation, can't mark. No idea why he's played left back. But otherwise, he's played a couple of Carabao Cup ties, got himself a goal, and all looks pretty good so far. So a decent squad player for us to have around, and it means we can put him on the bench if we ever have an injury to a lone player. So that's it in terms of the rest of the window. There were no more outs. We'd already done the big one in Craig Maguire, and there's no need for us to go any further on that. So let's go and look at our results as well. You were obviously with me for the 4-0 win against Luton Town. We went on a remarkable defensive run after that. So the next 4 games we didn't concede a goal either. 2 1-0 wins, firstly against Bristol City in the Championship. Fraser Cotleo again getting a goal in his second game at the club. Another match winner, that one. And then against Scunthorpe away in the Carabao Cup, a 1-0 victory courtesy of Mitchell Baker, the only first 11 player who featured from the start in that game. And he scored a cracking header. A wonder kid, not training well so far, but I'm sure he'll get there as the season goes on. We then had 2 disappointing 0-0 draws against Huddersfield and then Millwall. Defensively very solid. Mitchell Baker again very good. But we just didn't quite have that cutting edge in front of goal. And to be honest, Brendan Lindsay came back in the second one of those and he didn't look fit at all. But away to Reading, we did manage to get a point and a goal. Unfortunately, Brendan Lindsay missed a penalty, so that's another negative on his front. But Aaron White getting his first of the season, but we were unfortunately pegged back in the 90th minute. The first goal we conceded all season, and it was a very disappointing one. But we did bounce back to winning ways in midweek. A 2-1 win away at West Ham United, a fellow championship side this year, and 2 late goals from that man Drury and Joe Thompson getting us the winner. He has been absolutely brilliant in a couple of games he's played. A good rating in the Carabao Cup, and he looks like he's going to be a good squad player. So we're into the 3rd round against Premier League Wolves. We'll be playing that off camera before the next episode after this one. But today the focus is all on Leeds United. It's 10th v 5th. It's two of the only unbeaten sides after 5 games in a championship. In fact, we are the only two. Even the sides at the top who have played 6, they've lost 1. So we're the only 2 unbeaten teams in a championship, and one of us may well lose that record today. In terms of performance in the team, the standout has to be Stropper, the new goalkeeper alongside Mitchell Baker at centre-half, worth 7.25 million, 4 clean sheets in his first 5 games. I mean, what more can you ask for from the lad? He's been absolutely solid across the board, made 1 or 2 really crucial saves, and I've got really high hopes for him moving forward. His potential ability is massive, and we've just got to make sure he reaches it. But otherwise, a really solid start to the season. Don't forget, while we're waiting for those facilities upgrades, if I go and show you again, we're building the new stadium, or we're in the planning stage of that. We're building new youth facilities, and we've improved the recruitment and coaching yet again. So we are starting to get there. And with Saxon's big sale 2 years ago, and the one of Maguire this summer, it seems we're not far away now from building what we want off the pitch. Once we do that, on the pitch follows, because you can spend the money on transfers and on wages. And we've just got to make sure we get ourselves to that stage. The board are still disappointed with the finances in the deal to sell Maguire. I will never ever understand that for the rest of this career. But it was a pretty special transfer window. Despite not being the busiest or most hectic, there were some special moments in there. So I'm glad a couple of you down in the comments were very keen to agree with that. There really were some good moments in there. And Craig Maguire being sold for 10.5, in my book, is the best of the lot, despite what the board may think. None of those clauses available to sell yet. We'll see how much more we get for that 50% sell on later on this season. But in we go to the Leeds game. This is the one we're back for. And after it, we've got a 2-week international break. So if we can go into that unbeaten, I think we'll concede that it's a positive, pleasant start to the year. But obviously we have been struggling for goals recently. We have conceded our first goals of the season in the last 2 games. And Zach Council's not quite fit today due to injury. So we're a little bit weaker in some areas, but here's the 11 and 18 we've gone for. It's Stropper in goal. We've got Thomas and James the fullbacks, with Walker and Baker at centre-half. They're starting to flourish as a central defensive partnership there. Porteous in the middle, got a good average rating. Stefan Moles coming in the deep line role. That's so Tordoff can go over to the right. And then we've got McLaughlin and White, the rest of the 3 behind the striker, with Brendan Lindsay continuing up front. So let's go and get into this game. Brendan Lindsay just coming back to fitness. Cotleo still on the bench if we need him. And we've got Joe Thompson in high spirits after his midweek performance. And Petrucci coming back, who may make a debut in the league as well. So lots of positive signs. A decent start to the season. And we've just got to hope we can have another comfortable one before we really start to push on in the next few years. In we go to the Leeds game. Can we get the result? In we go then. Again, I was greeted by a shot of the empty stand in the far corner, despite the fact it's saying it's a sellout. It's a 4-4-1-1 for Leeds, 4-2-3-1 for us. And we've just got to try and get on the front foot. Look at that stand. Look at that stand behind the goal. It does my head in. But either way, let's go and get into the match. Maybe it just can't be used at championship level. Don't forget, it's Crawley's ground. It's a League 1, League 2 stadium. So perhaps that's what it is. But then there's 3 or 4 faces in there. Unless they're just flags or they're just security staff, whatever it may be. But here we go with the first highlight. We've lost it in the middle. Stefan Moles can't win that challenge. And Estasio's bringing the ball forward. Probably a horrible pronunciation, so apologies to anyone that offends. As Balanta gets it at right back. Long ball forward. Baker heads down. Been a real authoritative presence in the air for us. Something we haven't had in many years here, actually. And he goes all the way back to Stropper. Looking really comfortable in goal early on, despite not knowing the language yet, don't forget. And he finds Luke Thomas, the left back. The pass is poor, but it only finds Porteous with the interception. Here's Baker, out to James, the right back. Really enjoying and relishing his more attacking role this year. That's a lovely round the corner pass for Brendan Lindsay, out to James on the wide byline. Chance to cross, there's 2 or 3 in there. One of them's White, slides in, just beats the defender to it. And with 2 minutes gone, we lead Leeds United. That one's a bit of a mouthful. But 5 minutes on the clock, things looking good. What a wonderful start to the game. Here we go again. They're nearly 15 in now, and Stropper's got a goal kick, which has not been directed well. But it looks like we've got away with it, and Luke Thomas eventually shores things up. Just goes all the way back to Stropper in goal again. A chance to go short, finds Baker the centre-half, and that's out to Tordoff. Playing as that inside forward now. Seems to want to take the winger on though. He's got a chance. The cross is blocked. Falls for McLaughlin in the 10 roll. Back to the edge. Moles is there. His shot's just over the bar. He probably should have done better with that. Didn't hit the target. Didn't work the keeper. But it's been a really promising start for us here. The Leeds goalkeeper goes long. It's a lovely angle of the kick, actually. And Bailey knocks it down for Jarrett. The first time we've seen any attacking pressure from Leeds so far, and they've got a man over on this right wing in Balanta. The fullback crosses, but it's blocked. White's on the break now, and this is what we need. He can take advantage of the right back being upfield. Can Lindsay get in a goal scoring position? Oh, why did he shoot? He beat the centre-half sliding challenge. It was desperate. And he could have just laid it across, teed it up for a tap-in. And he tried to shoot, and it was feeble. Really feeble. It falls for White again from a free kick into McLaughlin. Lindsay's there, but he's offside. It sort of looked it before he even put it in, to be honest. So I didn't get too excited on that one. But Aaron White having a really good game so far, and the attacking fullback struggling at right back to cope with him. On the stroke of half time, Leeds have a throw in on the right hand side. It's been headed away but only falls for Jarrett. Roll switches it to Balanta. This would not be the way to concede. They've not had a shot on target yet. Don't let it happen now. Oh, it does. Jarrett shoots. It's a brilliant strike. Stropper didn't really have a chance. They say it went in at the near post, but it was thundered in. And Leeds, with 2 flurries late on in the first half, managed to get back on level terms. So it's Dorking Wanderers 1, Leeds United 1. We'll just encourage the lads, to be honest. So let's go and get into the second half and see if we can nick a winner and continue our dominance. Well, 25 to go. We've not actually seen a highlight in the second half yet. Alan Tordoff really struggling physically. He's picked up a knock. I'm going to bring on Tommy Parks because I don't have any other options. McLaughlin's had a poor game. Again, I'm limited in terms of options. So Adrian Bentley will come on there. But where is he going to go? Is he going to stay in the number 10 role, or are we going to put Stefan Moles in there? I don't know what the best option is at this point. So let's go and have a look at Moles. Oh, he's not as good. So Adrian Bentley's going to play as a number 10. He wants to be an advanced playmaker and he wants to be on attack. Is he a good passer of the ball? Not really. Well, he's a decent passer, but he's not got any vision. So we're going to leave him as that attacking midfielder. Brendan Lindsay, of course, is knackered, struggling to get back to fitness. Fraser Cotleo on for him. Had a great start in those first 2 games, but it's really dried up for him since. And let's just hope we can have a moment of magic. Ollie Robinson, I just missed that, was on the bench for Leeds as we get the ball at left back and we need to make sure we get this away. Walker goes long, Cotleo chasing, headed away but only as far as White, and again continuing that dominance down the left. He's fouled, Balanta brings him down and it's a penalty kick. Stefan Mole's the best taker. Not brilliant by any means. He's missed a couple in our time, but he's generally been pretty good. And those are the words that are probably going to come back to haunt me. Stefan Moles, oh, what a penalty, son. Sorry I ever doubted you. And they definitely are fans behind the goal because they're up jumping there. But Stefan Moles gives us the lead. And Aaron White is terrorising Balanta, the Leeds fullback. I've just gone and checked off camera as we move into 4 minutes of stoppage time. Balanta's on nearly 50 grand a week at Leeds. And Aaron White, who we've got on loan for 4,800, is absolutely tearing him to shreds. So we're going to go to our usual time wasting at the end of the match. Of course, with 4 minutes of stoppage time, a win would be a great result. What we do know at this stage is it's very unlikely we'll lose, and that means we will be the only unbeaten team in the Championship going into the September internationals. A 2-1 victory, Dorking Wanderers beat Leeds United and probably go above them as a result. So we'll go and reflect on the table. We'll tell the lads they were brilliant because they absolutely were. And we have got a lot to be excited about this season. 3 wins, 3 draws, 0 defeats. The only unbeaten team at this level. We're up in 4th place as the first 2-week break of the season comes along. We'll of course have Zach Council back later on. And Cotleo released by Leeds, I forgot about that. So he's come on a free from Leeds United. And he came off the bench to enjoy the final moments. What a wonderful day at the office again. I mean, this side is going to be brilliant. It's going to take a year or 2 for them all to reach their potential. For us to be the side that we want to long term. But I've got a really sneaky suspicion that in 1 season or 2, this Dorking side's going to be very special. There is every chance in the world that we'll have to have 1 or 2 disappointing sales, that we'll probably have to sell a couple to pay for the stadium, and it will continue to be a selling club as we go along. But we had that with Torquay and we still managed to make it. So I'm kind of hoping that this is the start of a special cycle. The good difference this year compared to before, I know that Baker's here, I know White was key today, Lindsay and James still big players for us. But we've got a core of young players who we own now. Porteous on a free was an unbelievable deal. Stropper is going to be worth more than we paid for him. Walker's here permanently now after getting him last year. We've got the backup left back Thompson, the backup right back Petrucci. Parsons still developing, Tordoff in the number 10 position. Peter McLaughlin's in there. Bentley and Cotley are among the subs today as well. Mark Ball, the backup keeper even, is worth 5 times what we paid for him. There's just so many positive signs at this club, and I'm really looking forward to this going forward. I've got to say, when we had those 4 seasons, or the 3 mediocre seasons, let's say, in League One, I didn't think I could find a winning formula. I was having a little bit of difficulty trying to stop shipping goals, trying to make the most of clear-cut chances. But we seem to have found a really happy medium now, and I'm loving managing Dorking Wanderers again. So stick with it, and hopefully we'll be alright. And we've got a big season potentially ahead of us. I know we'll probably fall away again. We've not got the biggest squad. We've not got the strongest squad. But we've got a lot of young players who are going to be better for this experience too. So as the season goes on, I think we're going to have quite a few exciting, entertaining games for these guys. A few memorable moments along the way. And maybe even a couple of cup runs as well. But I have got to talk about a little bit of news off the pitch. And it's not any news for now. But in terms of transfers, normally in January I'm quite quiet once we get to this sort of level. I don't really worry about bringing in big players. I know Maguire came in 1 January for 30 odd grand and went on to be sold for 10.5 million. But that was sort of a bizarre sale altogether. But we've got 4 or 5 youngsters in the pipeline from England, Scotland and Wales who look absolutely brilliant. And they're going to be those sort of ones who can come in and be backup players and then try and progress to the top level. So I think this January could be far busier than a few others. So we're doing a lot of scouting work. We've got an increased team now. If I show you in terms of the staffing, we've got really strong recruitment teams, which we're still trying to fill. We've got a technical director and a scout to get in. And we've got a massive coaching team as well. So I'm investing as much as possible off the pitch. And I'd encourage you guys to do the same. It's all well and good going and finding those 5, 10, 15 free agents who can become top class players at 18 years of age. But if you don't have the coaches that can work with them, and your coaches are overworked, your fitness team is overworked, your medical staff is overworked, they're just going to get injuries, they're going to stunt, and they're not going to develop. Having 15 coaching staff members for 25 players basically means 1 to 2 tutoring on a day that is needed. We've got the mentoring groups as well, so you've got senior players looking after a few, and it almost allows a one-on-one experience. So I'm really excited about that, and it's the one thing I would always encourage. Go and work on the coaching team and make sure it matches the players that you're trying to get in. If you've got loads of experienced players and you're just recycling them every 1 or 2 years, you don't need to worry about the coaching staff. And that's particularly at the National League North and South level, because if you can get 10 good 30-year-olds, they can look after themselves for a season, and then you get 10 more the next year. But if you don't want journeymen and you want to build players up, this is the approach I will always recommend. If you don't have it, it always tends to stunt the growth of the youngsters. So you can see we've probably got one of the most average teams in the Championship, but we have got one of the best coaching teams. The only one that's not the best or joint best in the league is the goalkeeper handling, and even then it's second. So I mean, that is where I'm putting all of my focus. Probably most of the coaches are earning more than a lot of those young players as well. So that's the priority. I've lost out on 4 or 5 that could have been brilliant. But that's because it has to be realistic. I'm not going to go and pay big wages. I didn't show you in the last episode, but our top paid player is still low knees on 10.5 grand a week, Stropper on 10, and then we're down to 8 and 7. There were lots of players who wanted 14, 15, would have improved the squad, would have been great, weren't massive transfers. Ben Barrett, the goalkeeper from Pompey, 17 grand and we could have had him. But that isn't the way the club needs to run. We need to make sure we're financially stable. We need to make sure we're keeping this up. So when we do get the next big player to go, we don't have to sell them if we don't want to. So that's the approach I'm going to stick by. I know for some it's frustrating. They like seeing the rise to the top and lots of seasons against the Real Madrids and Barcelonas and Bayerns and Juventus in the Champions League. That's not how I work in this save. It's all about building realistically. So we will be at the Championship for 1 or 2 more years unless this magical start continues. But we're going to do things the right way here. The same as we did with Torquay last season. The same as we'll do with whoever we pick next year for our one club story. So I hope you understand the reasons for that. And I hope you continue to enjoy it. But let's go and have a look at the schedule for when we might next be back. I think the only thing that can disrupt my plan is if we get past Wolves and get a massive 4th round Carabao Cup tie. Otherwise, I'll probably leave it till sort of mid-end October, maybe even the start of November. Because there's not many games. It's mainly international breaks at this stage. So let's see who's up there. I was looking at Palace, but it doesn't look like they've got a great side. Before that, the home game before is Brentford, and they're top. So I tell you what, if Brentford are still in the top 2, we'll play them next. If not, we'll skip ahead to Palace. One of those two will be the next episode. I hope you'll come and join me again. If you did enjoy this one, please do put a thumbs up on the video. A massive thank you for your continued support. I hope you enjoyed the performance. Let me know what you thought of the final signing of the window. And let me know what you thought of my approach to Dorking Wanderers. Things are looking good off the pitch now. We're starting to come together. We just need to make sure that we keep the finances up so that stadium doesn't fall through. Let me know in the comments where you think we're going to finish this year. I think it's going to be a bit of a tough season, to be honest. I know we've started really well, but with 3 or 4 injuries, we could be relying on youngsters this year, and that's where it may well go downhill a bit. We've got a bit less experience in the squad than last season, and I'm just hoping that won't tell. So fingers crossed, injuries will be light, and we'll be alright as we move on through the year. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for daily FM20 content and turn that notification bell on down below so you get alerts as all the new episodes and live streams release. As I mentioned, tomorrow at 10 AM we'll be replacing our regular daily episode with a live stream of a transfer window. That's from my other series, The Head Coach, the Season 9 summer transfer window. Don't forget our Director of Football's in charge of that one. We have no say in transfers, contracts or staffing, so he is going to do absolutely everything. Even going into it tomorrow, there's 1 or 2 pre-agreed deals, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more fireworks to come, particularly if January's anything to go by. This one will be back on Wednesday, of course, with our big game against either Brentford or Crystal Palace at home. And yesterday we continued our 2 new series. Firstly, my FM20 network career with a co-host going head to head. That was at 12 o'clock yesterday, and a playlist is in the eye above. And then at 4:30 it was my stadium review series. My first sort of move into the real footballing world. Myself and a friend attempting to do the 92, obviously heavily restricted at the moment. So we've sort of tried to fill that void in our conversations that we normally have on the train to wherever in the country on a Saturday. And we've sort of just done that to keep us sane in a lockdown. So hopefully you can come along. It's interactive. Let us know what you think if you've visited the ground or if you support the club we're talking about. And hopefully we won't offend too many people. We've just tried to be honest. We're not looking for rating people on 1s or 2s out of 10 to make them look bad. We try to be honest and find the positives if possible. So please do come and join us for that. Let me know what you think of all the new content on the channel. And if you are able to tomorrow, I'd love it if you could pop along and say hi in a live stream. I really enjoy interacting with you guys. And hopefully we'll be able to have a good morning. But thank you very much for watching this one, and you'll continue to support with the series as always. And hopefully I'll see you next time for another big episode as we try to continue our invincible run.